Over 3.2 million students are victims of bullying each year. Physical bullying increases in elementary school, peaks in middle school, and then declines again in high school. Even with programs in the schools, bullying is still a major problem. So what exactly do we do to combat it? Joining me now to talk about bullying is international activist, author, and public speaker, Gabriella van Rij. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
How did you become an international voice on bullying?
I think, first of all, because I'm passionate about children. I feel that they're forgotten somehow. And I had a personal experience. I'm one of the first multicultural adoptions from Pakistan to the Netherlands in 1966, long time ago. And what happened is that although adoption was a gift to have family, I was an outcast immediately because I was in a predominantly Western world. And I stood out by my skin color. I had thick gem pot glasses and an eye patch. And I was bullied enormously, not knowing that I was being bullied because we didn't call it that way. We called it just teasing and a rite of passage in a way and grow up.
When does bullying cross the line, or when does it cross the line to typical a rite of passage, catty girls, boys will be boys? At what point can it be defined as true bullying?
I believe that when the teasing becomes a meanness at such level with such cruelty, and when it's daily, when it's day after day, when someone says to me, hey shorty, they still do that today, that's fine, I smile. But if someone would actually target me day after day, whether it's one person or a group, and then I am so paralyzed that I can't live my life
So there has
anymore.
to be a repetitiveness to it.
Has to be repetitive. The meanness has to be there. Often there's a crowd, so if it's not in the schoolyard, then it is definitely on the cyber world, because that's how it propagates into something huge. And then that child feels that it has no way where to go anymore because it's humiliated, not in front of just she or he and the bully, but it's humiliated for all the friends, all the family, everyone to see.
You mentioned
and that's the problem.
The cyber world. So
Yes.
obviously various kinds of bullying as well. There's physical bullying, sort of verbal bullying, but also cyberbullying where you don't have to ever really even come in contact with someone.
Absolutely. And with the cyberbullying, what is so annoying is we mix the two up. We say, oh, there's another bullying case. So I've asked the children how and what to describe the cyber feeling that goes with it for them. And they came up that it was a real torment, that they felt that they were totally attached to that smartphone. They had to go and check what the person said about them, and it gets worse and worse. And so I picked up from every child that they said, I feel tormented. So I call this cyber tormenting. And bullying is the real bullying that we know happens face to face in the schoolyard. But the cyber world is where it escalates. And I think that if we don't stop it in the beginning and it escalates, we often have devastating results which go into suicide, unfortunately.
You mentioned you were bullied as a child. You said,
Yes.
oh, that was a long time ago. So bullying's been going on since the dawn of time, right?
I think it goes on from the moment we interact, because we have choices to act and react to everyone. That is a choice. And when we come in contact with other children for the first time, we don't know these choices, so we just react. We're just these happy kids that react to everything. And I think that one of the things I'd love to see in a curriculum change is to learn how to react. Because if I had known, if someone had empowered me with the knowledge that the bully and victim are mirror images of each other, can you imagine? That is quite powerful, because that means that they are as scared as I am. And that makes a huge shift for me, not to react, but actually to be maybe empathetic towards the bully.
How has bullying, obviously cyberbullying is a different story, but
Yes.
changed over the last 30, 40 years from the days that you were bullied to now the days that we see elementary, middle school kids being bullied?
I think the start is always the same. We want to target the child that has something. And unfortunately, one of the first things we see is the physicality of someone. So whether they're short, whether it's skin color, whether it's because of their ethnicity. So something like that is picked out. Could also be because the child is autistic or the child is not as fast as everyone in the class. So something stands out. They pick on that. But then, and I believe that there is a huge difference here for your viewers, is I was never told, never, not once, that I was unworthy of living. But in today's world, it's the first thing they say. They say, I have a parent on my documentary who says, Austin came home and said, oh, I'm going to poison your drink at school because I think the world would be better off without you tomorrow. Can you imagine what that does to a young boy?
It's just been taken, obviously, to a whole new level.
Whole new level. And that boy isn't sure. See, the problem is you're not sure when you drink that drink the next day. There is this little voice inside of you that goes, what if? What if? And then the big voice that goes, what if I'm not good enough? And I think that that's where I'm teaching the 4-step program. What is it in us that thinks that we need to measure up to these children that actually humiliate us?
Before even getting out and touring and teaching your 4-step program, you have written and published a book called I Can Find My Might. It's a children's book, correct?
Yes, it is. Because I thought, after being on the road all the time, I wanted something where the cases that I hear that are the most repetitive, I wanted to put them in the book. I wanted the children to know that everyone is being bullied. So they're not alone out there. We're there to help them. The parents are, the educators are, but they can help each other just by reading a story like this to know that they're not alone.
So this is a compilation of some true stories in this book?
Yes, absolutely. Changed all the names, changed a little bit the stories, mixed stories up together. But basically it's 5 children that feel very bullied. Some are very pretty, they're like the cheerleader type, and they get bullied too. One is the bully, one has an ethnicity problem. It's very wide.
So awesome book. We'll talk a little bit more about your book as well as your 4-step program in just a couple of minutes, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
Get your You're not sitting here.
Yes, I am.
Move! Give it to him hard!
No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why you stab me with it? No.
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how.
Oh, you got...
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Great shops, great eats, and great places. It's My Destinations, only on XFINITY On Demand. From Detroit to Grand Rapids, now you can check out some of Michigan's greatest destinations. Delicious pizza, Michigan craft beer, great family museums, and so much more. It's easy. Push the On Demand button on your remote, navigate to Get Local, and select My Destinations. It's My Destinations, only on XFINITY On Demand. Another way Comcast stays focused on the community.
You're gay, you're not good enough, you're too short. All these names that I hear every single day, I hear this in your schools.
You miss them a lot, and it messes with your emotions, and you think, what did they do to deserve it?
Kind of feels like you're in a dream. Like you think you're gonna wake up, but you're not.
Do you feel that Alice was in any form or shape unhappy in the week prior to her suicide?
No clue.
No clue.
No clue.
Hi, I'm Gabriella van Rij, activist, author, and speaker. I address one major global concern, that we as a society have dropped the ball on human kindness. And in doing so, we are perpetuating bigotry, racism, bullying, and cyber torment for generations to come. What do the kids say then?
Well, when at my old school, they would just pick on me just for fun, just to have a laugh.
I would definitely say there's more cyberbullying and more behind your back instead of to your face.
But now I want you to fast forward into your life. We deal with the technology and the cyber torment. Remember the cyber torment? You just went ahead. 3,000, 300,000, maybe even 3 million people saw me. Not just in America, but everywhere around the world.
No, don't!
One moment, one person, one kindness is all it takes to go from a negative space to a positive place. Be the difference.
One in 4 teachers seem to see nothing wrong with bullying and will only intervene about 4% of the time. Welcome back. Those statistics seem absolutely startling to me. Who sees nothing wrong with bullying?
I think it's also two reasons. One, age-related. If you're above 30, you think it is a rite of passage. So a little bit of teasing is what you often see as a teacher. And if you don't know the rest of the story, it is difficult to intervene. Now, to say and to be for a second the voice of the children, what they want, they would like the teacher to actually start digging without the children having to tattletale. And that's where the problem lies. The teacher thinks it's finished just to pull them apart, but that's where it starts.
And teachers will tell you as well, they can't parent the children. They can't do everything. They are overwhelmed enough with what they're supposed to be doing, which is teaching, not necessarily babysitting and trying to stop bullying.
But I don't believe this is parenting. I really believe that all of us, including the children, need to come together to talk, to be communicative. It's the most important. We don't communicate. We just punish real quickly because, like you said, they're overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed. They feel that they have too much to do, and the grades are more important than the children often. And the children feel that. So one of the things that I think could combat this is if the teacher then took the example of what she saw and then used it in her classroom with etiquette and how to not react to everything. That would be helpful, and that shouldn't be too overwhelming, and it shouldn't be either particularly only about bullying, but specifically about how to be kind to each other.
Well, and one of the major ways that you can get that conversation going, again, is perhaps to share this book with your child. What is the age appropriateness of this?
I would say 7 and above.
Okay.
And I've had younger children read it, but then the parents read it to them. It's a very easy read. You'll be transformed very easily into it because the child that is feeling an outcast or that is in trouble for any other reason might just be mesmerized about reading about other children and then relate. And I really believe it will resonate with many. It's for teachers, it's for parents, and for the kids.
Get the conversation going, and
yes.
Of course, if a child does read it, realizing they're not alone, there's others in their same situation.
Yes.
Aside from writing and publishing, sharing this book, you've also developed, and you're touring really all over, talking with schools, with students about your 4-step program to stop bullying.
For me, I don't go into a school and say, oh, I'm going to talk to you kids about bullying. It just doesn't work. So I had to come up with something else. So I came up with the idea of how to teach children to step up their values. I didn't know how to do that 3 years ago. So I kept saying, pick up the ball. So I brought out a real ball, which I made into my own ball with a trademark, and it says, we as a society have dropped the ball in human kindness. Will you help me pick it up? The children get that. And I say to everyone who wants to listen, the ball is a child. And so we have dropped the ball on this child. And how to pick it up is 1, become an active witness. 2, own your uniqueness. So if you're short, if I'm fat, then I teach, just go back and say, I am short and I am fluffy, but I can play I'm just as good as you are. And that takes a little bit of guts to do that. And third is dare to step into who you are. That's the part of self-acceptance. So the children understand that dare to step into you part much easier than acceptance. And last but not least, dare to be kind. Because if it was that simple, we'd all do it. It's not simple. It is actually hard to do. We have the words out to hurt someone else faster than we can be kind. And so one of the quotes I use every day in school, which is my own quote, nobody strikes another human being coming from a positive place. So when someone is nasty at you, always remember, they're not happy. There's something going on, more than just a bad day.
So rather than the anger, have some empathy.
Have empathy.
And don't allow yourself to be bullied.
Don't allow yourself to even go there, because they're fearful. You know, I always say to the children, when you're in that happy mood and you're skipping to school, there's no way anything can catch you off guard that day. You're happy, you're really in that good spot. And so the slogan of the ball, just to finish it up here for you, is that one moment, one person, one kindness is all it takes for that child to go from a negative space to a positive place.
And maybe forever. Once you can get that bully to move on. You may not get them to stop their behavior forever, but to move on and to stop from you. And obviously dealing with the bully is a different issue, but if you can help yourself, that's
if you can help yourself to do that and to take that, and that's where the might comes in, to take that might that you all have. A child asked me, where can I buy it? And that prompted me actually to write the book.
And not only did you write the book, develop a 4-step program to help stop bullying, but you're also in the midst of trying to, you've already created a documentary and trying to get that seen as much as possible.
So the trailer is on YouTube for everyone to see. You just have to hashtag pick up the ball or type the title, Our Silence is Complicity.
That's the name of the documentary?
Yes. Okay. It's not appropriate for the children, I wouldn't say. I would not go into an elementary school and show this. I would say the last 2 grades, maybe in middle school, would benefit greatly, and all of high school and college. Educators should really see this. It's the kids, it is adult bullying, it is educators that are in the documentary, and parents that have lost children due to suicide that are victims. And so I think it is heart-wrenching, even though I helped create it. It is really heart-wrenching. D-Films did all the productions in Iowa, and I'm really proud to say I'm just waiting for the TV to pick it up.
All right, well, we can't wait as well. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about what advice you might be able to give to both students and parents, as well as educators, on how to stop the bullying today in their schools. Thank you, and thank you. We'll be right back.
You've seen Comcast Newsmakers on CNN Headline News. Now you can watch them on XFINITY On Demand. It's easy. Push the On Demand button on your remote. Navigate to Get Local and select Comcast Newsmakers. Now you can watch in-depth interviews with politicians, public officials, and community leaders at your convenience. It's Comcast Newsmakers on XFINITY On Demand. Another way Comcast stays focused on the community.
Hello, I'm Gabriella van Rij, a public speaker that travels the globe, addressing one major concern, the concern that we, as a society, have dropped the ball on human kindness. And in doing so, we are letting our children down, perpetuating intolerance, bigotry, and rudeness for future generations. Bullying and cyberbullying have reached a critical point in schools, one that demands our attention before it's too late. I have witnessed firsthand how this kind of treatment can affect a child from a young age and follow them straight through adulthood, into the workplace and into their churches and communities. It's a vicious cycle that will only be broken by positive role models who teach self-liking and acceptance. It all starts with one voice. I am that voice. As a public speaker, I touch on any and all social topics that plague our society, many of which have been around for generations, like racism, harassment, and bullying. both in schools and in the workplace. I also create a safe space for positive dialogue relating to recent events that have affected the way we treat one another. For example, how the terrorist attacks of 9/11 still cause us to be suspicious and fearful of one another. Most importantly, I share my many unique life experiences, which resonate with many into their own lives in some way. It's time that we, as a society, decide right here and now to up our values and our standards. The change starts with us. It starts with you. It starts with me. Call me to speak at your event, at your school, your community, club, or offices right now. Together, we can pick up the ball of human kindness and make this world a better place to live for generations to come.
Over 67% of students believe that schools respond poorly to bullying, with a high percentage of students believing that adult help is infrequent and ineffective. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us. And that's kind of scary as well, that bullied children feel as though they're really on their own and that adults are not going to help them.
I think they really do feel that they're on their own, and I tell you why. Most children tell one adult one time. So our window is so small where we can actually help them. And often I don't want to say a bad word on television, so often we miss the ball. We dropped it on this child, whether we're the parent, whether we're the educator, or whether we're just a friend. And I tell you why. Because we judge. We judge so fast. So let's pretend that a child comes to me and says, Gabriella, I have done something terrible. I was drunk, I was at a party, I think I had consensual sex with 3 boys. Let's say she says that. Now, you know as much as I do because we're parents, if your child says that to you, you're gonna react like crazy.
Yes.
And so you're gonna say, oh my God, I don't wanna hear this. Oh my God, you're too young. Don't do that again. And you miss the boat here. But we miss the boat because we've reacted. So one of the things that I've learned to do, I learned to do it with my own child, but I've learned to do it with all these children, is just to really bite and just don't say a word, but be present. Don't look at them judgmental, just look at them and say, okay, tell me. I'm really listening.
Keep that open communication.
That's what I say.
Going.
Because I'm shocked too by the things I hear. Don't think I'm immune. But at least I have found a little method inside of me to say, I'm listening, go for it. And the moment I do that, that child, oh my gosh, it just spills the beans. And the second advice I have, don't give advice. Just listen. That child is so pouring out his or her heart. Don't give advice because they actually don't want to hear that immediately. All they want to know that you've listened and that you're ready to think about it. So that's what I usually answer. Let me think about it. Let me process this. Is there anything you want me to do? That's what I usually say. And the child just goes, it's so happy. It is so elated that you did that. Because the second thing that we do as parents, and I'm to fault for this just as much, is that I say, well, in my day, no, not in your day. It is not your day anymore. Right. It's their day. And we cannot relate, no matter how much I was bullied, and no matter what, it's not the same anymore. They have tools to go further, like we discussed with the cyber torment. We have cases every day. The 3rd week of October, there was another case in North Carolina. So it is non-stop. We can't compare.
So what can people do to get on board, to pick up the ball, to join your campaign?
2 things. Change.org. Please help us sign the petition. You don't have to donate, although it says that. It's not for me. Change.org says that. Write the ball of human kindness in there. You will find us. We're trying to get 6 million people to sign, and I'll bring the ball to President Obama. That's 1. And 2, just write #, pick up the ball, and you will find me in a second. You can find YouTube, Facebook, follow us. There's a foundation there. There you could donate, gabrielasfoundation.org. Anything is welcome. We'll go to your school. If anyone sees us here in Michigan, call us. We'll come straight back to Michigan and we'll come to your school and help out.
And if you're not able to get Gabriella to your school, every single child out there can pick up the ball on their own, in their own daily life, react a little differently,
Always.
be a little kinder.
Yes, we all can. Just be the difference.
And advice for kids who don't think adults, teachers, parents are on their side, or if they do drop the ball, because that's going to continue to happen, they need to be empowered themselves.
I tell them to find their might inside and to actually solve it by themselves by going through the steps, the 4-step program that I say, because there's always something. See, I was bullied because there was something with me. The moment I said, I'm good, I'm okay, I can make it, it is all right to be brown, it's all right to be adopted, and I lost my own chip on my shoulder, nobody bullied me anymore. So you don't have to combat it with force or humiliation on the internet back, because that's often what we do. We don't have to do that. We can honestly combat it by the strength that we have inside of us. Dare to be kind back.
Are we on an upward trend? Are we getting worse? How are we doing as a society as we look at the trend of bullying, cyber tormenting, even over the last 4, 5, 6 years?
I think we're going down. I'm so sorry to say that because I'm a positive person, but I think we're on a trend downwards, which I'm going to try to stabilize very fast. And I still have a couple of months before the end of the year. So I believe that the reason we're going this way is because even if you don't allow your child to see a reality show, the child has a smartphone in their hands, can get technology any which way they want. So they are exposed to things today that I wish no child of mine would ever be exposed to. At the age of 11, they're exposed to things that push them into adulthood that they shouldn't be doing. So that's why the decline. But we can go in and up by just really spreading a message of that it is a one moment thing. And if the child understands that one moment, I can keep him alive. And that's what I'm out there to do.
And that's an important message, that it's not just about, we're not going to make this child feel bad about themselves today and this child's going to have a better day. You may end up saving a life and stopping somebody from who may be contemplating suicide, and you could make a profound difference in someone's life.
I think you can. They did in my life. So I really believe that that one moment that someone sits next to you is really powerful. But again, for your listeners, just so you know, the children out there say to me, and I find this out after the suicide cases, they always tell one person that they're going to commit suicide. The unfortunate part is it's another child, and they don't know how to deal with that.
Big burden to put on another child.
Big burden.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Good luck as you travel the country and get this wonderful message out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For more information on today's topic, you can Google #PickUpTheBall. Thank you all for joining us today, and all of our esteemed guests for joining us as well. And thank you for watching this Newsmakers Extended Edition.